I think we've ruffled enough feathers today.
I think so too.
Yeah. So stay tuned for the next feather ruffling session.
Yes.
Hey everybody, Bill and Deb.
Hi there.
Well, I hope the Super Bowl went your way yesterday.
Well, it was a 50-50 chance.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
What happened? What, stinker? What, you want to go outside? Oh no, she knows the camera's on. Don't you? Yep, she does. Yeah. Yeah, I see the camera on, so I want to get in. Well, look at the camera. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Well trained.
Anyway, and to be honest with you, we did not watch the Super Bowl last night.
But some of our neighbors did.
Oh yeah, right next door to us. They're followers of ours. They watch some of our videos. In fact, we did a walkthrough on their trailer a couple of years ago. But they had a projector set up outside, and their trailer happens to be white in color, so it made the perfect screen.
Yeah.
And shot it up on the screen, and they had a Super Bowl party right next door to us, and it was really cool, you know. Everybody all circled around there, and they had popcorn and all kinds of stuff.
They were having a good time.
It was a neat experience, yeah, for them. It looked really cool. But anyway, down here in Florida, the weather is just gorgeous right now. It's quite a departure from what we had a couple of weeks ago, and we are welcoming this.
Finally spring in Florida.
And we're getting nearer and nearer, of course, to the impromptu rendezvous, which will be, you know, the easiest way to say it, it'll be the last week of this month of February 2025, in case someone's watching this a couple years down, or whatever. But and we're looking forward to that, and we're going to have a lot of different people coming in for that, we've been told. So anyway, that's what's going on right now. We're eating way too good. We got a lot of friends here right now, and we're eating
way too good.
Well, yeah, way too good. I'm going to have Kathy's famous banana pudding here in the next day or two. I got to save up for that. Anyway, what we thought we would do today, well, before we get into that, tell us about this painting here,
this
Deb.
is just my latest painting, and just it's on the website, as well as my other artwork. And this one, I'm calling it Purple Moon. Purple
Moon, okay. And yeah, she's got quite a few that she needs to find homes for.
Yes, I do.
So if any of those interest you, you can email us at iridetinyhouse@gmail.com. That's iridetinyhouse@gmail.com. You can email us there and tell us you're interested in some of these paintings, and she can work something with you, and we can arrange to get the paintings shipped to you. You can see these paintings at iridetinyhouseadventures.com.
Under Deb's Art.
Under Deb's Art, when you go to our website, which is iridetinyhouseadventures.com, then you can go to Deb's Art, and you can see all the paintings there. So anyway, several ways to see if any of these paintings would interest you. But anyway, we had a question, and we're looking at doing a once a week segment on answering questions. And either you can email us at iridetinyhouse@gmail.com, or you can pose a question in the comments on some of the videos. I'll come near seeing the question though, because we get a lot of comments, of course, on our videos, you know, but I'll come near seeing the question on our email if you were to email your questions to us. But we're going to address one here today, and it's actually a series of questions. It says, "Hello, my name is David. I am a 44-year-old from Alabama. I have watched a handful of your videos." Well, thank you, David. We appreciate that. "I see you interviewing a lot of people and figured you might be able to give me some insight if you would be so kind." And yeah, right now we have, as far as walkthrough videos are concerned, we're approaching almost 100.
We're getting real close.
Walkthrough videos, getting real close.
Real close. And
I'm sure before the end of this month is out, we will, you know, go above that, of course, because we plan on doing several while we're here. Yeah, So here we go. I understand that all trailers, no, here, let me back up. I want to purchase an 8.5 by 18 enclosed trailer and convert it to a camper and live in it full time. I understand that all trailers are different and converted differently, but I can't seem to figure out how much it will weigh at the end. I don't know whether to get 3,500 pound or 5,200 pound tandem axles. The vehicle I will be purchasing can only tow 7,000 pounds. So the weight has to be under that, but I have read that if you don't get the 5,200 pound axles, you will regret it and could bend them on a back road or burnt out bearings, tires, etc. Others have said that 3,500 pound is plenty and there is no reason to get 5,200 pound, and that if you do, it'll beat your trailer up. I assume by riding too rough. I will be all over the country and boondocking all the time. I am a builder, handyman, remodeler by trade, but I've never built a trailer before. I usually don't have to worry about weight in a home, but I plan on being very conscientious about what materials I use. I don't want to waste money and add unnecessary weight, but I also don't want to wind up broken down in the middle of nowhere either. It will be just me living in the trailer alone. The trailer will have a kitchen, 2-burner cooktop, medium-sized household refrigerator, 24 by 24 shower, small lightweight washer and dryer, small recliner, twin mattresses, 41-gallon water tank, a twin mattress, not mattresses, 41-gallon water tank, 18-gallon gray, wall cabinets, solar panels and batteries, etc. If you had to guess, after conversion, what a ballpark weight might be, what would you say, and should I get the 3,500 pound or 5,200 pound axles? Thank you so much for your time. Well, we'll be happy to try to answer your questions best we can. And there's a lot of gray area here involved, but let me start out with this before we move any further. Your trailer, when you pick it up, an 8.5 by 18, I think is what you said, is probably going to weigh just a tad more than 3,000 pounds before you ever start your build. I think ours weighed, ours is an 8.5 by 20. Of course, we got extra height with ours, and I think it weighed pretty close to 34, right in there, 33 to 3,400 pounds. So you're going to be somewhere in the 3,000 pound range before you start your build at all. Now, what we did when we were building it, and you can do this research, we knew how much the refrigerator weighed, we knew how much the microwave weighed, we knew how much the all these different appliances weighed, because when you research them, which is going to require a lot of research on your part, they will tell you what the weight is of
and
these
your batteries,
items.
how much batteries
and your batteries, depending on what kind of battery bank you want to go with. Typically a 100 amp hour battery will weigh somewhere, if it's a lithium iron phosphate, probably weigh somewhere in the 40-pound range, something like that. And are you
going to travel with your freshwater tank full or empty?
Yeah, those are things you got to think about. And we're going to talk more about your choice of a 41-gallon here in a little bit. And we're also going to talk about your choice to have a washer and dryer with you. But
right.
we will talk about that here in just a little bit. But the thing that I would suggest, or we would suggest, do your research as much as possible. And all your different appliances and things like that you're going to add in here, like I say, you can do your research and it will tell you how much those items weigh and add them up, as you go. As far as the products you use to build out your trailer on the inside, and you probably already know this basic information, but if you're going to use plywood in certain areas, how much plywood weighs per sheet, depending on the thickness and things like this. If you don't, it's real easy to find out how much plywood weighs per sheet, depending on the thickness. And then go ahead and break it down into square feet. Because even though you buy a 4x8 sheet of plywood, you may not use all 32 square feet of that. So you already know that kind of stuff. I don't have to go there with you. Another thing too, of course, on all of our framework in our trailer that we did, we used 2x2s rather than 2x4s. So we saved weight there. And you know how to build, like if you're going to frame up a bed frame or something like that, you know how to build it the same way, you know, the way we did ours, we did it like you'd frame a wall in a house with a top and bottom plate, and then that extra top plate that ties your different walls together, you know. And but you already know about that because you you know, you're a contractor, you've worked on houses. But so to keep the weight down, we used 2x2s. We had rather than buy cabinets, and the only cabinets that we actually purchased in here or have in here are our kitchen cabinets that we have on either side of the trailer towards the front. Now, rather than go to Home Depot or Lowe's and places like that, most of those cabinets utilize particle board in parts of them, or MDF, and you and I both know that particle board and MDF is much heavier than a comparable thickness in plywood. And so we went to a regular cabinet shop. I didn't want to mess with trying to build cabinets and had them build the basic cabinet carcasses, and they use all nothing but plywood. And that kept the weight of our cabinets down. We have a 4-foot long cabinet on one side and a 3-foot long cabinet on the other side, and neither one of those weighed more than 35 pounds, the carcass. Of course, we added the drawer fronts. They came with drawers, but we added the drawer fronts ourselves. For the large compartments down below, we went with Rev-A-Shelf kits, and the Rev-A-Shelf kits are not very heavy. And then we made our own fronts for the Rev-A-Shelf kits on our cabinets.
Well, the Rev-A-Shelf kits aren't heavy, but they will hold up to 100 pounds.
Exactly. And we're going to be getting more into that in a little bit. So these are all things you can do. Just do your research ahead of time, you know, and break everything down by the square foot if you're going to frame whatever framework you're going to, and try to keep your framework inside, like walls and things like that, to a minimum. And that should be a little easier since it's just you know. And we only have one wall framed in our trailer, and it's just me and her, and you know, the honeymoon's over, so if you know what I mean.
Now, I have a wall for privacy, and I have a curtain that I can pull for privacy.
So, you know, just think about those ways that you can build it lighter to begin with. And now, let's talk about things that too many people do not consider. It's one thing to build it as light as possible. It's a whole nother thing when you start adding all the stuff that you will carry, especially if you're someone like yourself that's going to be living in it full time. For instance, let's talk about clothing. We carry enough clothing so we could go almost 3 weeks without having to do laundry.
Real close.
Yeah, pretty close to that. Yeah. And now I do wear my jeans. You know, I got several pairs of jeans, but I will wear my jeans sometimes up to 3 days before I get a new pair. I change shirts every day, socks, underwear, things like that every day. The only thing that I will wear a little longer is jeans. And here again, a lot of that depends on, you know, if I can keep them clean or clean looking during that time. However, when we get ready to go do laundry, especially if we went the full length of time, I'll guarantee you that we're probably washing over 100 pounds of clothing.
Because I can't lift, and I'm pretty strong. I can't lift the hamper as I load it and give it to Bill.
Yeah. Of course, you know, whenever we were younger and we would move to another house, we'd give her this small box like this. And we're thinking, okay, it won't be too heavy. But when she filled it with books all the way to the top, because she never thought about stuff like that, because, you know, the guys are going to pick it up. But that's a whole other story.
That's another story.
Off on that.
You got off on topic.
So,
but your clothes alone weigh more than what you think they will.
Right.
And let's talk about books. I started out with my favorite books and quickly got rid of them because books are in the way. They're unnecessary. I can get books because I love to read. I have an app that I can download on my phone, and I can read on my phone. Yeah. Or tablet or whatever.
You have a digital library card.
Right.
And that's how you read books.
But groceries. Think about 2 weeks worth of groceries because you're going to go boondocking. You don't want to run to the grocery store every day. 2 weeks worth of groceries, when you unload it from your vehicle to your home, you're talking probably another 75 pounds,
or
maybe 100, depends on how
or-
much meat you buy.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get to here in a little bit. Our refrigerator alone, it's a 10 cubic foot fridge. Well, according to the website, when we got it off of there, it claimed that it weighed right at 100 pounds. We probably have 100 pounds of stuff in it.
When we travel, yes.
Yeah. Now, when you go over here and look at one of these Rev-A-Shelves down here, and all the canned foods and everything, it would not surprise me if this one Rev-A-Shelf deal here is probably holding a minimum of 50 pounds and maybe 100.
Yeah, I'd say it's closer to 100.
You think so?
Because it's got a lot of canned goods in it.
Because canned foods, they add up real quick. So not only do you have to think about your building techniques and the weight of the materials you were using, but you also have to consider what you're going to be loading out in there as well.
And a decent battery bank is going to weigh close to, I don't know how many amp hours you're going to use, but a
Right.
decent battery bank's going to weigh close to 150 pounds.
Or more.
Or
Or
more.
more. Yeah, for instance, the battery bank that we have in our van, which is a 600 amp hour system in the van, we have 3 200 amp hour batteries, and those weigh around 61 pounds each, just for the batteries. And then the inverter weighs, I'm going to say it probably weighs about 15 to 20 pounds. And then 2 charge controllers, and then you add all that stuff up. It's probably pushing 250 pounds, not to mention the
solar
panels on
panels.
top, and they weigh about 30 pounds each.
See,
And
every
there's 4
little
of
thing
them.
weighs just a little bit. It doesn't weigh that
Right.
much. It's
Right.
when you get a bunch of things that weigh
Exactly.
just a little bit.
Now, all that being said, this trailer, because we got it weighed and weighed it the proper way, this trailer, the way we travel with it, and it's an 8.5 by 20, and all the stuff that we carry weighs in, give or take 100 pounds either way, because we've culled some stuff, but then we've added other things. But we're going to weigh right around 7,500 pounds. Now, we do have 5,200 pound axles.
And that's with no water in the freshwater tank.
Right.
Or
right,
gray water.
Right. We don't carry water when we're traveling. Now, let's talk about this beating the trailer to death thing. We have 5,200 pound axles on this trailer. The trailer, when it's packed out, ready to go down the road, the way we travel, give or take 100 pounds either way, it weighs right at around 7,500 pounds. The trailer's not beating itself to death.
No, we have to
No.
go over some really rough roads.
Yeah.
I mean, I secure everything for the possibility of rough roads.
Yeah.
But usually everything, once in a while the refrigerator, when you open the door, you have to open it real carefully, but most everything stays where it's supposed to. It doesn't bounce unless we're going down Highway 20.
Well, parts of Interstate 20, parts of Interstate 10 over towards New Orleans. But the one that takes the cake is Highway 82 crossing Mississippi, and we got to go back across that dadgum thing here before long. That road is, I'm sorry, I love the state of Mississippi, but I hate that road, But anyway.
Those are just our experiences on that.
Yeah, yeah. Now, strength, because you mentioned that some talk about the strength in the axles and things like that. Yes, a 5,200 pound axle is going to be a larger diameter tube. It's going to have larger bearings because of that. This is true. Now, I do know of a guy that built a teardrop here a while back, and we did a walkthrough. This has been probably a year and a half ago or so. But when he built this teardrop trailer, which, was very, very light, he used a 3,500 pound axle on that, but he used the springs off of a 2,000 pound axle. But he went with the 3,500 pound axle because of the larger bearings in a 3,500 pound compared to like a 2,000 pound axle for that. And so, yeah, but he was thinking about the fact that it had a better set of bearings. And it stands to reason, of course, a 5,200 pound axle will have a larger tube, larger bearings. Now, another thing though that I want to talk about, and we harp about this all the time, you may have seen one of these videos where we harped on this subject, but you said you've watched a handful, so let's go there whether you've seen it or not, just for those others. If you're building this thing to live in full-time, traveling, and you're going to be going out boondocking in rough terrain, do not get dropped axles, get straight axles.
You got more ground clearance.
The drop axles, that's where your weak link is in a dropped axle. And I personally right now know of 3 different people that have swapped out their axles from drop axles to straight axles simply because where they bent it when they were out in the bow jacks was where that little I-beam kind of thing comes up and does the upturn like this and over, and your spindle's mounted up here. That's where the thing got damaged right there when they hit rough terrain. And a straight axle is going to be a lot stronger when it comes to that, not to mention the fact that you're going to have a whole lot more clearance. So no matter what you do, whether you go with 3,500 pound axles or 5,200 pound axles, get the straight axles, and you will pay extra for straight axles, but you will be glad you did. I'm just telling you, you'll be glad you did, because if you go and swap them out later, you know, the expense is going to be a heck of a lot more to do that, which I know of a gentleman just recently in the last couple months had it done. It wasn't cheap. So that's the main thing as far as strength is concerned. Now let's talk about, well, before we get into your towing situation, what was this other thing here? The washer and dryer. When we built the red trailer, we were going to have a washer and dryer.
Yes, we were.
We're going to have something that nobody else has in a small cargo conversion. We're going to have a washer and dryer. So when we advertised, we saw this washer, and tell them the specs about the washer.
The washer was the Little Giant, I believe was the name of it. I don't remember. But it would wash, you know, minimal amount of clothes, which, okay, I can wash every day. That's no biggie.
2 or 3 pair of jeans at once. That would be about it.
It said it took 5 gallons of water.
We thought, hey, that's great.
And of course, I was naive. I didn't realize that meant 5 gallons to wash and 5 gallons to rinse. And when you're hauling water in and out, that's an issue. All of a sudden, I'm using 10 gallons of water a day just to do a load of small little
load. Not an average load you do at a laundromat, a small load.
So then we also bought a 110 volt clothes dryer, a portable little clothes dryer. It's 110 volt. I thought that would be perfect. But it would take an hour to an hour and a half to dry 2 pairs of jeans and a towel. And if you're not hooked up to electric...
Just imagine how much that would be drawing off of, because you're going to be boondocking. Yeah. Imagine what that would be drawing off of your system.
That's why we decided, you know what? We can carry a little bit more clothing, try to make it 3 weeks at a time or close. Go to a laundromat. Yeah, it costs me money. It costs me about $20 every time I do laundry. Go to a laundromat in an hour and a half. We're done with the laundry, and we're good for another almost 3 weeks.
Yeah, then we can go back to just doing whatever we want to, and don't have
I don't have to worry about it.
Do a small load
every
day.
That's our experience.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's different.
That's right.
But it was a shock to me to realize how much water this thing took and how very little I got out of it. And then I'm going to bring up your 22 by 22 shower. Have you stood in a 22 inch?
I think he said 24.
Have you stood at an area that big and tried to,
24.
you know, maybe you're a little bitty person, but just washing your hair, how much room do your elbows take?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
but, you know.
That's you.
I've seen people doing a 24 by 24, you know.
I'm just questioning it a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, but we don't need to nitpick to that point. Besides, I'm a small guy.
Yeah, right. I had a 32 by 32 and Bill was in there.
Banging my elbows.
Bang!
and stuff.
Ow! 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 So just a thought.
Well, shoot. Anyway, no, we're not going to go there and tell
No.
you need to get a bigger shower.
No.
You know more about that than we do. So
Okay,
no, I'm
fine.
sorry. No, that's okay.
It's a woman's
But-
perspective.
let's talk about. Now we have in our trailer we have a 65-gallon fresh and a 65-gallon gray. But we're real and you're going to go with a 41-gallon with an 18 gray. So, unless if you're planning on letting some of this run on the ground now and then, we're kind of sticky about that. Of course, we always stay in Corps of Engineer campgrounds
Some areas
99%
you
of the
can do
time.
it.
And in Corps of Engineer campgrounds, if they don't let you run any kind of gray water on the ground. In fact, there's one area that we go to in that particular district, they have outlawed shower tents. They don't even let you take a shower in a shower tent with just plain old shower water running on the ground. So, consequently, we have a 65-gallon gray as well as a 65-gallon fresh. So, you might think about that. I don't know that those are restrictions that you're going to run into out when you're boondocking, but some rules could start changing in those areas as well and getting a little more strict, especially, and I'm going to get on a little soapbox here for a minute. But I've been seeing a lot of videos lately from out there in the BLM land where people are leaving messes behind and all kinds of stuff, and who gets to come along and clean that up, and there could be some stricter rules coming down the pike one of these days if people don't wise up and clean up. So there you go. Now, let's talk about, and whether for you to get 35s to 52s, I sure would hate to see you. 35s, technically, you could have a GVW on your trailer of 7,000 pounds with 3,500 pound axles.
But it's also, that's pushing it.
Boy, when you're taking it right to the nub, that's still pushing it, in my opinion. You want it lower than that, but that's before we even talk about your tow vehicle. And let's talk about that for a little bit. Don't know what you're looking at going with. Doesn't matter. But you said it would only be rated to tow 7,000 pounds. Well, technically speaking, if you talk to most anyone that does a lot of towing, the general rule of thumb is try not to get more than 75% of your rated towing capacity. Our van, all depends on who you talk to and what website you look at, but our van is rated to tow 9,900 pounds and we weigh right at 75. So, we're pushing it right there. We're pushing it right there at the 7,500 pound, or the 75% limit right there. And others might say keep it below that. Most anyone you talk to will say, just because your rig is rated to tow 7,000 pounds or 5,000 or whatever, you shouldn't take it right up to what its rated towing capacity is for a number of reasons. And for one thing, you're going to be affecting that towing capacity too, depending on what kind of stuff you're hauling in. Okay, our camera died, so then we had to move to another camera. And this one is a GoPro Hero 12, and we don't have the issues that we have with the GoPro Hero 10 GoPro. But anyway, it died because it got hot. And that's ridiculous. But,
Yeah, because it's not hot in here.
well, it's not hot in here
In
at
fact,
all.
I was thinking it was a little cool.
I can see it if we were out in the sun. But anyway, enough of that. So anyway, where were we? We were talking about the tow vehicle rated at 7,000 pounds to tow. And so anyway, the main thing is look at that a little closer. If you're sure that you can keep your weight down after you do research on all the on your build, you know, as far as square footage and materials used and things like that, and how much it weighs per square foot, and then all the other things that you'd be carrying in it, I would really hate to see you end up with your trailer weighing, say, 6,000, and your rig's rated to tow 7. You're really pushing it even at that, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. Other people might come in and say, Bill, you're all wet when it comes to that. I know of a guy that towed trailers with an Astro van, a V6 Astro van, and he swore up and down that he towed 10 to 12,000 pounds all the time with no problem. I wouldn't want to do it, but anyway. I can't think of anything else. Can you, dear?
No, not
I think
really.
we
I hope
pretty
we
much
answered, and I hope we didn't upset you any, but
no.
we're just telling you our opinion and our personal that we have dealt with, and you know.
But while we're on the subject of, you know, and I'm harping on straight axles, let me harp once more, especially if you're going to be going out boondocking.
Get an extended tongue.
Get an extended tongue. Yeah.
And the jack that cranks this way, not this way.
Well, it all depends on what you plan on putting on your
On the tongue.
But or, you know, he may be adding a power jack,
Maybe
which,
so.
you know,
Maybe so.
I swore I'd never do it, and I did it. I put a power jack on ours.
You did it as fast as
crank it. But yeah, be sure and get an extended tongue for a multitude of reasons. But anything else? Can you think of anything else, dear?
Not that I can think
At all.
of.
And I apologize for. Well, Deb's already apologized, but I'm going to say it again. We're not here to nitpick you.
No.
And another thing too. And this is for all you other viewers out there. I should have said this at the front. I'm going to say it at the back. If you come in and comment, do not be a horse's you know what.
Let's be kind.
Be kind and helpful.
Yes.
Don't come in here showing off how much you know and how you think everybody else is stupid. Don't do it. You'll be blocked. Pure and simple. Then you can't comment at all.
This is all a format for us all to learn from each other.
Yes, yeah. Anyway, this is Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures. I think we've ruffled enough feathers today.
I think so too.
Yeah, so stay tuned for the next feather ruffling session.
Yes.
But in the meantime, you know what we're going to say. We're not camping.
We are living.
Y'all get out there and do some living, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.